Greetings from Australia and welcome to Prime Migration. My name is Ruth and I am an Australian law practitioner in immigration law based in Australia. Well, in today's video, I would like to share with you 5 things you must know for parent migration or parent visa. Now, please do not treat this video as legal or migration advice because we assess each case on a case-by-case basis. But I believe that the contents of this video will provide you with vital information concerning your case. So what are the 5 things you must know for parent migration? Well, the first one is to meet the criteria. So for example, if you're looking at parent migration and you're looking for a permanent visa or a temporary visa with a permanent option, then generally you must show that you will meet the 50% balance of family test. So what does 50% balance of family test means? Well, that means that if you're a parent, then half of your children must be either an Australian citizen or permanent resident. Now, this is different from the new visa that the Australian Immigration has introduced in 2019, which is also called a temporary parent visa. So with the temporary visa, you only need to show that one child out of all the children, only one of your child has to be an Australian permanent resident or citizen. However, with the temporary visa option, generally it's granted for 5 years or 3 years with the option to renew for a total of up to 10 years. So if you're looking at just, being in Australia to spend time with your grandchildren and holiday, then the temporary visa option would be a great option. However, if you're looking at settling down in Australia, then you really need to think about the long term, which is permanent migration. And for that, 50% of your children must be either an Australian citizen or an Australian permanent resident. So the first thing to consider is whether or not you need to meet the 50% balance of family test, or if only one of your child will need to be a permanent resident or an Australian citizen. So the second thing is you need to really know which type of visa you're going to go for. So choosing the right visa is really, really important. The parent migration may seem fairly simple on the outset, but it is also one of the more complicated areas because there is onshore visas, there's offshore visa, there is age parent visas or contributory parent visas, and you also need to consider where you want to be at the time you launch the visa, because some visas do not actually grant bridging visa A. So bridging visa A is what most applicants will be eligible for if they apply for a visa in Australia. For example, if you apply for a certain type of visa and it takes a couple of years for the visa to be decided, a bridging visa A will actually allow you to stay in Australia, to live here until a decision is made concerning your visa, or until your visa is granted. But with the parent migration, the parent visa category, not all visas, even if you lodge them in Australia, not all of them have bridging visa A, which means if you do want to lodge in Australia, then you really need to think about, okay, can I get another kind of visa, to extend my stay in Australia whilst I'm waiting for my parent visa to be decided. So knowing the type of visa and choosing the right visa is really, really important. Number 3, you need to consider waiting time. Some visas could take maybe 2 to 3 years before immigration will make a decision and then you get the visa granted. But certain types of visas can also be capped and queued. And what that means is it could take 10 years, 30 years, or even 50 years for some of these visas to be granted because there is a quota system for certain types of family visa. So knowing the right visa, knowing the waiting time is really important because you don't want to be spending money and time and effort going forward with a visa and then later on finding out that the visa is not going to be granted for the next 10 years or 30 years. And for that reason, it would be wise to seek advice, whether from a migration lawyer, someone like myself, or someone trustworthy. Okay, so that's number 3. The 4th thing you must know for parent migration is you need to apply for sponsorship. So what that means is the child who is sponsoring you, this person must apply for sponsorship and have the sponsorship approved. Generally, they will need to be over 18. They'll need to show that they can support you. If they pass the sponsorship test, then you can also be eligible to be granted your visa. So essentially, it's 2 separate applications because your child will have to apply to be a sponsor, and then you will then apply for your visa. And if you have a spouse, you can also include your spouse or your partner as part of the same visa application. So I hope that the video today is helpful. It is touch and go in a sense that it's really, I wanted to just keep it brief. I will be making a couple of other videos which talks a little more about the parent visa category, but really choosing the right visa. That is the first step you need to determine and consider the waiting time. If you need help in regard to your parent visa matters, please do not hesitate to email us on the email address below, and note that the contents of this video, once again, is not to be treated as legal advice because we assess each case on a case-by-case basis. But otherwise, we wish you all the very best in your future endeavors and in your pursuit for Australian migration. And thank you for your time in watching this video.